Welcome to the Intrazone Roadmap Pit Stop August 2022 edition. This is a bonus monthly show that answers that burning question in your mind: what is rolling out now for SharePoint and related technology in Microsoft 365? I'm Mark Cashman, Senior Product Manager on the Microsoft 365 marketing team, here to help that ongoing record straight. This month, I talk with Ankur Madan and Sahil Baid from the Microsoft List Product Management Group. You'll hear Ankur and Sahil discuss progress in the mobile list space, namely bringing access to the Lists MSA Preview for the iOS app, and more about the overall progress to date and innovation for Lists on the Android platform. Beyond Lists Mobile, we'll focus on everything that landed this month, a few related items, and the always fun teasers looking into next month. This podcast is your 30-minute roadmap boost to stay ahead of the ever-curving Microsoft 365 roadmap. It's time to kick back and get informed about all the tech that rolled out in August 2022. First, we'll frame all the stuff that shipped around employee engagement, that one-to-many outreach with a lot of the two-way road in between. And we've got a couple of big Viva general availability announcements, starting with Microsoft Viva Goals at the very first day of August. August 1st, 2022, Microsoft Viva Goals shipped to general availability. Now, as a reminder, Microsoft Viva Goals is a goal setting and management solution that aligns teams to your organization's strategic priorities, driving results, and thriving business. Goals supports the OKR goal setting framework of objectives and key results to create symmetry between the work teams are doing and an organization's top business priorities. Because Viva Goals is a part of Microsoft Viva, it integrates into the connected employee experience, empowering people and teams to be their best from anywhere, including seamless integration in Microsoft Teams. My team has actually adopted Goals and, in my opinion, creates good transparency across the team, so my peers, and it also helps align all of us to the broader motions of the Microsoft 365 marketing team beyond my world, which means I get alignment with the Teams team and the Yammer team and what the Outlook team is doing, and of course everything in my realm of OneDrive, SharePoint, and Viva. Ultimately, this is signaling the priorities up into the upper management so they can see what all the teams are doing, and of course back down so that we can see how we're progressing and working with both inbound and outbound efforts to align and move all of us in the same direction for Microsoft 365. And one of the things, for instance, for me, about 10 or 15% of my time is spent on coordinating OneDrive, SharePoint, and Viva teams to prepare and deliver for external events. And I can see how this event-specific KR, for me, contributes to the broader objective of Viva growth. It's also a good tool to manage bi-weekly one-on-one meetings with my new manager. Goals makes it easier and more clear what I'm working on so that he can learn and get up to speed. That we can also, on an ongoing basis, help prioritize based on what is the better focus for me, either that particular week, that particular month, or as priorities shift, to at least be able to align and make those connections a lot more clear. So get trying Microsoft Viva Goals now in general availability, which means pretty much anybody on the planet can now access Microsoft Viva Goals. Another Viva app that's moved into general availability is Viva Engage. That is as of August 23rd. Engaged is designed to help people and teams to be their best, to have a voice, and to feel included in the workplace. And for leaders, they have a new way to shape culture at their organization by unlocking communication and engagement, this being an opportunity for everybody to engage. Just as an FYI, the tech behind Engage, it's built on the foundation of Yammer that builds on the existing capabilities of the Communities app for teams within Microsoft 365. So for leaders, Viva Engage is an app which is a place to share news and strategy, model culture, speak with employees, and weigh in on conversations that maybe don't come directly to you. Features like virtual events, pinned conversations, and announcements with notifications across Teams, Outlook, and Viva Connections. For employees, Viva Engage enables people to build communities and professional networks, share their work and perspective, and find answers to their questions. There's some new features like storyline and stories, best answers, the ability to @mention, and topics help drive participation and build communities and relationships amongst coworkers. It's a great way to carry forward your Yammer investments or establish Engage as a new social app for your work and education, digital communities, conversations, and have these nice new capabilities to self-express within your enterprise. Next, staying with Microsoft Viva, the family, we'll move into some updates for Microsoft Viva Insights. This is also an app in Teams, and within Insights, you're going to see new user interface updates, a new opportunity to see meeting category insights, and of course, an opportunity for people to opt out. The Viva Insights app in Microsoft Teams is getting a lot of user interface updates, mainly to simplify the experience and to bring a more cohesion across however you access Viva Insights. So that means the Viva Insights web homepage, which is discoverable if you go to insights.viva.office.com, and the Microsoft 365 app launcher on office.com is also being updated to match the Viva Insights app in Teams. One area of improvement is within the Effective Meetings tab, and now you'll see Meeting Category Insights. Those meeting categories in Outlook allow you to easily tag, label, and group your calendar events, those that you use to help visualize and make your calendar come alive with colors so you can see what types of meetings depending on how you've tagged them. With the Meeting Category Insights, this will help you understand how you're allocating your time across these different categories. You can now see data for the last 3 months, the last 4 weeks, and the next 4 weeks. Additionally, in the analytics space, the My Analytics web dashboard will be updated to reflect the Viva Insights brand and be accessible via a link from the Viva Insights app in Teams. One note, a new privacy setting will allow end users to opt out of Viva Insights from the Teams application and will allow them to stop receiving personal insights across all surface areas. All right, let us round out employee engagement with one of my favorite applications and a capability I've been really excited about to get just for my personal use outside of Microsoft work, for my personal home working with my friends and family. Microsoft Lists, the MSA Preview that we started, that support is now coming to the Lists iOS app. And this will be in beta format as far as both the preview itself and the app until it's released into production to support the MSA Preview. I hope you already know that it's time to liberate yourself from coordination chaos, whether it's at home or at work. And it is now time to clear your brain space and get organized. And in short, it's time to try the Microsoft Lists MSA Preview, if you haven't already started the preview itself. And this month, we're introducing the ability for Microsoft Lists MSA Preview to be accessed from your iOS device, bringing the lightweight version of the Microsoft Lists app that's designed for small business and individual use in conjunction with your Microsoft account, MSA. This will help you move about with all of your information, whether it's for work, whether it's for your life, while you're on the go. I'll have this in the show notes for sure. I just wanted to give you the download and install link so that you can test this beta of Lists on iOS today. Just go to aka.ms/lists_iOS-MSA. Before we chat with Ankur and Sahil to learn more about signing into the Microsoft Lists app with your MSA, I do want to call out the difference between commercial and consumer IDs that you will use just to help clarify what those are. There is the one that you use to sign into your work or education account. That's the Microsoft 365 Org ID. The one that you use to access SharePoint, Teams, Exchange, Viva, Stream, any investments you've made in the education or enterprise space for Microsoft 365. We sometimes refer to this as the commercial space. Microsoft account, which is often shortened to the acronym MSA, is what you use to sign into Outlook.com or Xbox Live. For me, it's my Hotmail account that I've had for many years, and it's my personal username and password that I use to access all the Microsoft services meant for personal or home use. I hope clarity is key, and to add a lot more clarity about Microsoft Lists at your fingertips, let's now turn to talk with Ankur and Sahil about all things Microsoft Lists Mobile. Okay, you've heard me talk a lot about what is shipped this month. It's time now to get a little bit more behind the scenes. And this time we're going behind the scenes of your most loved device in your hand, whether it's iOS or Android, and now specifically the Microsoft Lists app for iOS and Android. We're going to dig in with Ankur Madan, who is a senior product manager, and Sahil Baid, who is a product manager on the same team effectively, working on lists, making your Lists mobile experience amazing. Ankur and Sahil, welcome to the IntraZone.
Thanks, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
So I've kind of hinted at what you both work on, but I'd love to hear it in your voice, what you do at Microsoft, so people can hear a little bit more about what your day-to-day is like working on the SharePoint and OneDrive team, working on lists. But Ankur, can you give us a little sense of what you do for the team?
So I'm working as a senior product manager with List mobile team, which basically involves building the List app for our consumers. Now, consumers could be enterprise consumers, could be end user consumers. And we make sure that we are building the best of the experience, which makes people happy.
And I think that distinction, we'll get into that a little bit around what do we mean by commercial, what do we mean by consumer. But I really like that notion of if we can hit it in the way that just is easy for anybody and a friendly experience, then I think that's the right balance. Sahil, before we move on, can you give a little sense of what you do on the team?
Sure, Mark. So I'm a product manager with the mobile experiences for Microsoft Lists. Currently working to get List Android up to speed with the List iOS app that released earlier, and working on a lot of wonderful experiences for both our enterprise customers and making our app ready for the consumer world.
So if you heard that correctly, we've got iOS and Android on the same call here. So hopefully they don't get into a fight, but I'll make sure I'll be a good referee. But you both work on the same team. And I think what will help a lot of people is to understand if they know what Microsoft Lists is and this notion of being able to take them with you while you're on the go, I thought we could start there and maybe just get from both of you a sense of what you think is one of the things that we deliver that's a really important value aspect of lists on either iOS or Android. And currently, just to be really clear to everybody listening, we have been in market with both iOS and Android for the commercial space for a while now. So really anything goes. Just to start off here, Ankur, what do you, when you talk about Microsoft Lists on a mobile device, whether it's iOS or Android, what do you usually highlight for people of things that they can do or things that you think they will be really excited about being able to do?
Thanks, Max, for asking that question. I think in essence, Microsoft List helps you track information and organize your activities. It is as simple as that. Now you would wonder, there are many apps in the market which would do the same. But what differentiates Microsoft List is it is not just a tracking app. It enables you to manage the whole process and the workflow for the whole life cycle, right? It just does not end when you task, and it manages after that as well. Now that's what the list do. And with mobile in picture, it gives you an access anywhere, anytime. So you can just use it on the go. If you're traveling, you could mark your tasks, you could organize your tasks, you could share and collaborate no matter wherever the other person is in the globe. So it is that simple and it is that convenient.
I always like to remind people that it's not just a companion application. It really is a full-featured list experience. You can create lists. You can, of course, edit list items. Maybe, Sahil, when you get beyond the kind of, I can create a list while I'm on the go, I can access my list items. Are there any unique features, maybe even if there are anything specific to either of the platforms? I know you work on Android a lot. Is there anything that as people are using the application, the one or two things they should know about?
Yes, definitely, Mark. So as Ankur rightly mentioned, right, lists basically, how I see lists is divided into three parts. You capture information easily, you track that information, and you collaborate with your teammates. With the mobile apps, the wonderful thing that we have is that we have a lot of mobile first scenarios on the application that our users are using. For example, the photo capture scenarios, inputting data or capturing data using barcodes and QR scans. And a lot of these mobile first applications are being used by our customers to sort of track their data and use it in a mobile first way rather than them just using it on web. And a lot of our customers are actually not just creating lists or editing lists, they are doing a lot of operations on lists. They want to view the data better. And that is what they use a mobile app for. They can have quick operations, they filter, they sort, and find out what is the relevant information that they want. And they do this all while they're on the go.
Me as an individual using your app, of course, I've been using it for a while, and I started on Android, and then for a reason maybe we can talk about after this show, I moved to iOS just as a change in life. But I've enjoyed the application in truly a day-to-day driver of accessing lists. And one of the favorite features that you both have added, into the product is the ability to capture an image into effectively an image column. If you know lists, there's an image column, and being able to do that in mobile, of course, accessing your camera. What I really like about it is not only is it really easy, but it puts the file into the place where you'd expect it, into the list that is actually stored within SharePoint. So it's a great device to access information, but it also is a compliant app because it puts the data in the same place as you would expect, which is ultimately SharePoint on the back end. So anyway, I just want to let you know I've been using that feature a lot because it's really easy way to capture a photo, and nice that it puts it into the right location. So the news at hand, I wanted to start Ankur first with the area of Microsoft List Mobile that you focus on, which might be very new to our audience. We've talked about it in a previous episode in terms of this larger Microsoft Lists MSA Preview that we've started. But this is really new, being able to access that preview from mobile. Can you talk a little bit about the iOS update that enables the ability for somebody to sign in with a Microsoft account?
So when we launched iOS for enterprise or for commercial, it's been a while, and we've been hearing a lot that, this is a wonderful app. Why can't I use it for a Microsoft account? And by Microsoft account, people mean that they want to use it with their personal ID, which they also use for Outlook.com or Xbox. So we hear them out, and we are launching a preview version or a beta version of an iOS app where you could use your Microsoft personal account to log into the app. And guess what? It is all free of cost.
And it looks great. I just loaded it up today because you've sent me the early link. And I have, of course, been using the preview for a while, some for demos, some for testing out my own personal list tracking needs. I have a soccer team that I manage, and it was really great. My soccer team just showed up, and I have an image column for all of the team members, so I could see my team members when I clicked into it, full screen, and it worked. It was really nice. And just to reiterate, the value is, me as an individual, I may be tracking personal needs to track some information, but it is also something that we're expecting some small businesses to be able to use. And so it might not be that they're investing in the full breadth of Microsoft 365, but with a Microsoft account, exactly like you just said, it is something that gives you that access, to try out for free at no cost during the preview, and is something that we hope people will love.
Absolutely, Mark. And just to give you an example, one of my friend has a small logistic company, and he was facing a problem where, the delivery is not sure whether the delivery is happening or not. Now, when I told him about this app coming in, he was very excited, that the delivery person can click a photo, upload a photo, and he can real time foresee that whether the stuff has been delivered or not, and what is the progress, where are the delays happening. All this right at his fingertip.
Yeah, I think that's such a key thing that Sahil mentioned, and you're reiterating that fact of every business, large or small, has a form of a business process or just steps they need to follow. And if it is somebody who's out in the field, capturing data, capturing a photo, that then in real time, at least they have that information to then work off of, might trigger, notification, or it might just be, access to that same image, without having to be out in the field. talking about both commercial and consumer, just to put a little bit more on what we mean about that, in addition to talking about Android. Android came after iOS, and there are a number of things that we, I think, attribute, like Sahil led with. But Sahil, anything more you can talk about around the Android version of Microsoft Lists and some of the things that you've recently delivered?
So first of all, let me call out that this has been a milestone year for us, for the Lists team, because now we are available on all endpoints, including web, Teams, iOS, and Android. And since, as you mentioned, right, we released Android some months back, and we have got good early traction. We are currently available for the enterprises and EDU accounts. And what we have seen is that a lot of customer asks coming in for new features, and that's always a good place to be. And that is where we are currently working to make our Android app even better. Today, you can perform all the core scenarios inside the app, like creating lists, editing lists, organizing data within lists. But now our aim is to make the app available for all possible users. And that is where we are investing heavily to bring the app to different kinds of device and form factors, such as tablets, fold and flip screen devices. We've also implemented improvements to our conditional access policies, where in addition to the app protection policy, our customers who have the required approved client app can also enjoy the list application without having to update any of their existing conditional access settings, etc. And we are working hard to get all of the major customer feedback in place, improving our reliability and performance for the Android app, as well as working with Ankur to get Android app ready with the goodness of using MSA accounts, so that in the future, in the coming time, consumers, small businesses can leverage the goodness of the app on their Android platform as well.
It's great to hear. I'm sure a few people listening were thinking, I have probably used the Android app for Microsoft Lists if they're listening to this show. But if they've been working with the MSA Preview, I bet they've been sort of asking that question, when is it coming for me? So good to hear it's in the works. We'll certainly say a lot about it when it is available for Android for the MSA part of it. But to both of you, I think, when you think of, what are we working on next? One of the big items that I just heard around the Android world is that different form factors. And Android certainly has a lot of different form factors. One in particular, I'm sure that people may be thinking of, and we can just put a pin in it as maybe what you were talking about is the Surface Duo. But I know that there's a lot of other phones that flip and fold and do lots of crazy things. But I also just wanted to take a moment to say, with iOS, you get a really great experience on iPhone and iPad. I use iPad all the time. I have an iPad Pro, and I actually use it sometimes as a secondary machine that I have open if I'm doing something on my main machine, but I just need to look up something that we're working on for Ignite or some other aspect that I'm working on, for a different event or different product launch. It really is, a quick, easy application to have open on the iPad, and it looks great, works great. So I'm sure the work that you're doing on the Android side is, taking that same approach, to make it a great experience no matter what device somebody's using. If we were to frame that, if there's any last thoughts you have about the design of what you're working on next. I know there's a lot to do to just deliver, going from preview to, beyond preview. But anything, if you can think of, that would be of interest, for people to know what you're working on, even if we don't say exactly when it's coming, something, broader stroke of what we can expect with Microsoft List Mobile in the future. Maybe Ankur, we'll start with you.
Focusing on that is secondary step. What we are primarily working on is, once we launch this in preview, we would like to hear our customers' feedback, and we would proactively want to react on that. And that's a good part now, because we are listening to you actively, and we encourage you to please download the app, use it, and if you don't like it, sending the feedback is as easy as just shake your phone and a feedback pop-up will pop up, and all you have to do is just send the feedback. And we would try our best to work on it as early as possible. In fact, as soon as you send us the feedback. And that's what our first major priority is.
Okay, so download, install, try it out, shake and send feedback. Anything on the Android side, Sahil, that you can say in terms of beyond the form factors? Any designs or broader strokes of what we're thinking about for Android?
Yes, sure, Mark. And I would answer this not just for Android, but lists overall. We are really looking forward to engaging the creator community. For lists as a product to be successful, the creators should be able to easily create lists, easily be able to add data and collaborate with their teammates. And we currently have a lot of research and exploration going on from the product team that can actually enable the creator community even further and help them engage. And we have a few explorations around how we can do that, how we can make capturing data and adding data much more simpler. And I'm sure that in the coming months, there would be more updates around that as well.
Great. Well, I want to tell you both, obviously, both very recent and within not too long ago, just the milestones of getting an app in the App Store or in the Google Play Store is no small feat. And having this update where, we're supporting another authentication mechanism in the same application. I just wanted to say, Ankur, to you, congratulations on the MSA milestone for the Lists iOS app. And to Sahil, thank you for making the Android app really great. And thank you both for just making Lists a wonderful experience and a good application, within now both Microsoft 365 for work and life.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for having us here. And thank you to the users who are listening. And thank you for supporting the app as well as the whole suite of Microsoft product. Keep loving us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark, for having us on this conversation and for the users to be able to listen to what we are doing. And we look forward to hearing back from a lot of our listeners around Microsoft Lists and how their experience is on it.
All right. I hope you heard from both Ankur and Sahil, both the excitement and the energy they have behind making Microsoft Lists great on mobile, but also that opportunity to jump into the preview, whether it's for your first time on list.live.com or for the first time, which is now available to all of us to try out, accessing that same service from your mobile device. It's a pretty easy setup. I encourage you again to go to aka.ms/lists iOS MSA. Try it today. Now let's move on to teamwork. We have new site templates for SharePoint team sites. We are introducing 3 new SharePoint team site templates so that you can quickly create sites for your IT help desk team, your crisis communication team, and a new employee onboarding team. These site templates expand what's possible with content, pages, and web parts while helping you quickly get started building your own site, all packaged to save you time. Each template contains pre-populated content and web parts that are fully customizable to meet the needs of your organization, either exactly how they are in the template or to use the template and then further customize. Again, saving you time, but not necessarily locking you into exactly how the templates are. So just real quick, the crisis communication team template helps you centralize your crisis communication, various resources, and best practices. The IT help desk template help you resolve technical requests, track devices, and share training materials. The new employee onboarding team template will help guide new employees through your team's onboarding process. The templates are easy to apply when you create a new site and can be applied to existing sites when the scenario fits an update to an existing site. Great flexibility in how you can use templates, and it's always great to see new templates come to market. So hopefully will save you time and give you a lot more awareness of what you can do in SharePoint. If not, it just does it for you and you get to the work that needs to get done. Staying with SharePoint from an authoring perspective, we have a few new and updated web parts. So we're introducing a new SharePoint site theme as well, but let me start with the web parts. The first of 4 web part updates is designed and available to Microsoft 365 education customers, and it's the new Assignments web part. Customers using Teams assignments will be able to add the assignments web part to pages to provide students with a one-stop personalized resource for all their class needs. The assignments web part can also be used on communication sites like a home site to display the upcoming assignments due across multiple classes. Really great to be able to consolidate that for students, and it's a really nice way for a web part to contribute to the balance of creating and setting up your intranet so it works for you, especially in the education space. Next web part is the group calendar. There's an update. The calendar web part is getting visual updates, an indicator informing users when a meeting is a recurring meeting, and the capability to join upcoming Teams meetings online when you're working and looking at through the web part and you click into it. You'll go right into the meeting. Next is a change the layout of quick links in the toolbar. Users are now able to easily explore the different layouts available for the quick links web part. We're surfacing layouts as a drop-down option in the toolbar to make it easier for authors to get the look and feel that they want. And so last, the fourth web part update, the highlighted content web part will now better adhere to the layout preference when you go into a 2-column section. This means the layout preference is retained and you get the great value of the highlighted content web part, but also get the benefit of it adhering to the layout of your preference. That compact layout is now something that's retained. And to make life on the Intrazone more colorful, let's talk about the new Periwinkle site theme. That's just fun to say and to think about. And when applied, it brings a lavender blue visual site theme to your SharePoint site. This new theme adjusts to dark and high contrast mode when viewed in Teams as well. So no matter where the busy bee of your busy bee day brings you, the lavender blue accentuates and helps you go above and beyond your team productivity and collaboration goals. There's a great help article so you can learn how better to apply these custom site templates and of course to learn about all the new web parts and the new theme. Let's wrap up this teamwork section and talk about an update within Microsoft Purview. This is information protection, co-authoring encrypted documents on mobile devices. This is now generally available. With this update, users will be able to collaborate seamlessly on documents encrypted with Microsoft Purview information protection from their mobile devices. That's both Android and iOS. This allows for greater flexibility and productivity on the go and supports hybrid and remote work scenarios. Don't let going mobile stop your co-authoring experience and keep the security within intact. Just so you know, this update complements, of course, the existing co-authoring support for Windows and Mac desktops and Office on the web. There's a great article where you can learn how to enable co-authoring for encrypted documents in general, and then assume those access points that you further manage, whether they're on desktop or mobile, would then adhere to those different choices that you made for how people can or maybe cannot co-author on encrypted documents. All right, that is the end of teamwork. It is now time to turn the wheel and the corner into related technology. First up, if you didn't hear, OneDrive is now 15 years old. As of August 9th, 2022, we say a happy belated 15th birthday to OneDrive. This month, we celebrated OneDrive's 15th lap around the sun, and we got a new OneDrive home experience. The Wayback Machine churned a lot of innovation in the evolution from Windows Live Mesh, Groove.exe, and SharePoint workspaces into SkyDrive and SkyDrive Pro and landed on OneDrive as we know it today. And today, the team has been hard at work redesigning the OneDrive home experience to help you easily resume your work and catch up on what you missed while you were away. Everything at a glance and easy to prioritize where to start working. We did a unique episode of the Intrazone that we titled OneDrive Turns 15, and there's a whole bunch of material I'll link to if you want to read more about the history of OneDrive. There's also a really nice video that the OneDrive team put together that kind of accentuates the past and brings you up to the present. And there was a really nice key blog from the OneDrive team that really articulates what are some things that you can do. Guess what it was called? 15 Reasons to Love OneDrive. And it's one of those things that if you haven't played around with the depths of OneDrive recently, there's a lot that you can do, and it gives you 15 great reasons to read that blog. Next related item, To-Do is now rolling out to Outlook for Windows. We're excited to announce that To-Do is rolling out to Outlook for Windows for the current channel users, starting with current channel version 2207. With this release, you can use the To-Do app right from Outlook for Windows to plan your work and commitments effectively and stay focused on the tasks at hand. So if you know To-Do, you can do things like view your flagged emails from Outlook in To-Do, view assigned tasks in a single place, and to plan your day with the My Day view. This, for me, finally brings one of my favorite To-Do features that's been locked in the web version, which, to be honest, has been a little clunky and slow. But now, with the experience inside of Outlook, I have the ability, and I hope you will love this ability too if you give it a try, to copy a task to create a new one that appears when you use To-Do in Outlook. It saves me a ton of time for when I have recurring tasks, especially a task that has a lot of subtasks. So for instance, each time I work on a monthly roadmap episode of the IntroZone and the companion blog summarizing updates for SharePoint and beyond, I track all those steps that I like to follow and repeat each month, like that I need to do research to find what's shipped, schedule time with one of my PM colleagues like you heard with Sahil and Ankur, record the voiceover like I'm doing right now, publish the blog, post a tweet, post to LinkedIn, of course, follow up with everybody and let them know that it's now out and live, and on and on and on. I just have a lot of things that go along with this one task, which is do the roadmap pit stop. But for me, it also is a place where I turn and track all of those things. So now I can copy the last month of that roll-up task, rename it, and all of those subtasks come for me to then reuse and repurpose and have as a new item, new subtasks, and off I go, all without having to do the creation of sometimes 10 to 15 subtasks manually. They just carry over in that one copy action. Users with an eligible Microsoft 365 subscription and user license for Microsoft To-Do app will be able to quickly access To-Do alongside the main Outlook functions such as email and calendar, which are now displayed vertically to the left of the folder pane. You can check what subscriptions you are licensed for in your account information and get started with To-Do today inside of Outlook. The last related item is just a broader protocol awareness. And I think it's just something that very much over time, and of course to your choices that you're making within your own network, that just make the future a lot more capable and consistent, and of course adhering to protocols that we all adhere to across the internet. IPv6 is now the default for SharePoint in Microsoft 365 to ensure seamless customer and user experiences over the internet from any location, from any device. Internet Protocol version 6, IPv6, is the most recent version of the Internet Protocol, the communications protocol that provides an identification and location system for computers on networks and routes traffic across the internet. IPv6 helps deal with the long-anticipated problem of IPv4 address exhaustion and is intended to replace IPv4 over time. SharePoint will begin enabling IPv6 by default for all SharePoint tenant URL endpoints. The scope of this change includes all URLs under the .sharepoint.com, including your customer tenant.sharepoint.com and your customer tenant-my.sharepoint.com. When the change is complete, SharePoint will begin advertising both AAAA and A DNS records, allowing clients to connect either via IPv4 or IPv6. Microsoft 365 services can be fully used from both IPv6 dual stack and IPv6 only devices. In fact, we have an increasing number of customers, from consumer to large enterprises, who are moving towards greater adoption of IPv6. The big note, for most customers, IPv4 won't completely disappear from their digital landscape, so we aren't planning to require IPv6 or to deprioritize IPv4 in any Microsoft 365 features or services. There's a lot more information in a connected article called IPv6 Support in Microsoft 365, and I'll have a link to that in the show notes and the companion blog. All right, with IPv6 leading the way, giving us a much broader landscape to address, teasers. Let us reroute from IPv6 of today to a month-long route predicting with high certainty the focus on the future that's just around the corner. Here are 2 teasers for what's coming in September 2022. Teaser number 1, add, update, or delete images in Microsoft Lists via Power Apps. This continues the power of integration between Microsoft Lists and the Power Platform. Teaser number 2, quiet time settings in Viva, Teams, and Outlook. Create better boundaries and protect personal time to silence more notifications from whichever communication app that you're using, especially if you're using more than one. That's it with this month's Peek Ahead. We'll share more details and other updates within the SharePoint Roadmap Pit Stop September 2022 edition next month. We've added learn more links per feature, plus a list of important resources in the show notes and in the corresponding blog post on the Microsoft Tech community, published to the SharePoint community blog. I hope you enjoyed this roadmap pit stop. Time to pump the brakes and relax knowing that you are all caught up. If anything still leaves you scratching your head, open questions, or concerns, please send us your thoughts and comments to theintrozone@microsoft.com. Thank you for taking the step with us into the cloud month after month. This is Mark Cashman saying Roger, Roger, over and out. You now have clearance, Clarence on the roadmap ahead.